President Obama says that he wants to attack Syria as a punitive strike for its violation of international law. However, that ignores the fact that any such military action is itself a violation of international law. In fact, an even more grave one than using chemical weapons. That's an issue that the administration has pretty much ignored, which is ironic because going back to the immediate post-World War II period, the United States took the lead in creating international institutions that could establish an international law and enforce it. The United Nations, the World Court, and later the International Criminal Court, which the U.S. helped to establish, but the U.S. never joined it, never signed on to it. But there is a framework that was established in order to keep the peace and enforce international norms on all countries. And among them, most importantly, was the respect of the sovereignty of countries. Even though they might do bad things at times internally, there is a way to hold them accountable through the application of international law. And though the United States took the lead in creating that international framework, it has often violated it. Today is the 40th anniversary of another 9/11, the military coup in Chile that was sponsored and supported by the United States and overthrew a democratically elected socialist president, Salvador Allende. As Henry Kissinger said at the time, and he was the architect of the U.S. intervention there, we can't just stand by and allow a country to go communist because of the irresponsibility of its own people. No respect for the sovereignty of nations in that view. And of course that coup ushered in several decade-long military rule by dictator General Augusto Pinochet, and opened the door to many such rightward movements throughout Latin America, and the introduction of neoliberal policies. And it's from that the countries of South America, or at least some of them, are now beginning to recover. But if there had been respect for the sovereignty of nations, which is, I think, basically what we have to call for, that would not have happened, and the suffering and pain of a continent could have been avoided. As we hope that further suffering and pain in Syria can be avoided now. Fortunately, the social movements in the United States, and indeed just the spontaneous expression of the public in the United States, has forced many members of Congress to say, well, we can't really endorse the president's call for authorization of the use of military force in Syria. That plus the initiative from Russia in offering an offer that has been accepted by Syria to bring Syria's chemical weapons under international control. It's ironic, but this is the second time, at least, that Russia has saved the United States from a major mistake. The other time it saved it was during the Cuban Missile Crisis, when Khrushchev said, no, we're not going to go further down that road that would lead to a third world war, a nuclear war. Well, there is hope now, at least for the time being, that military action by the U.S. in Syria can be avoided. But we have to continue to exercise our voice to say that there must be another solution. And in any case, it's not the responsibility of the United States to be the policeman of the world. There are international institutions, there's international law, and it would be far better if we upheld and strengthened those institutions rather than weakening them. We saw after the 9/11 12 years ago how the Bush administration used that as an opportunity to launch an even more aggressive militaristic foreign policy. Rather than turning to international institutions to strengthen international law, it weakened international law. And President Obama now, if he were able to go through with his plan, would further weaken international law. As himself a former professor of constitutional law, we would hope more from him. But I think we have to force him to do more than that. Those are the points that I would want to make.